Coffee. Lockdown, 10 weeks I think we're in now, and we're on episode 8. The great thing about starting this video cast 2 weeks after lockdown went is I'll always know which episode we're on, which is really handy. As you know, viewers, if you've seen this before, this is the video cast by the coffee industry for the coffee industry. And we're sharing stories with fellow industry members about how their lockdown is going, what they're doing differently, what they're not doing. And this week we are talking about what it's like to be furloughed by some fellow baristas from the industry. And with us we have Davide Cattaneo from Redemption Roasters. We have Fabio Cerami from the Gentleman Baristas. I have my partner in Lockdown Coffee with me, Max Dubiel from Redemption Roasters as well. So let's get into the nitty gritty then, because I understand Davide and Fabio, you're both furloughed currently, am I right?
Yes, I am.
So how has the furlough process been for you? I mean, what's it been like in the last however many weeks you've been furloughed? What's your day-to-day been?
All right, for me, being on furlough has been a kind of, I would say blessed, because currently I'm living with my partner and he's a singer, which means that at the moment, as you know, any kind of event where people gather together is being cancelled, and they are talking about 1 year of anything. So I had some savings, of course, but being on furlough is a blessing, definitely. Yeah. It helped both of us to keep going in this situation, which is a kind of weird situation for everyone. But yeah.
And I guess he can't be furloughed, can he? Because he's effectively self-employed.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I know this is nothing to do with coffee, but I'm curious. Has he been able to claim on the self-employment assistance?
Yes. So they have, I think of, I can't remember the name of the organization. It's a kind of art organization, and you can apply for get some support. Yeah. And he got something, I know, but it's not enough, of course, to live in London to keep doing everything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm self-employed, so I only get 3 months. And we don't know as self-employed people whether we're going to get any more, because obviously the furlough has been extended to October, hasn't it? But not for us poor self-employed consultants. We don't. So I don't know what's going to happen. So yeah, I get that. I understand the uncertainty there. And how about you, Fabio, being furloughed? How have you experienced it? How's it been for you?
It has been unusual for sure. Something we never experienced before. All of us. Yeah. It's something pretty new to anyone, really. Mm-hmm. It's been unusual, but in the same time, I took advantage from this moment to think about my future, my goal, what I want to achieve in my life, and it's been really self-educational, let's say, for me. And thanks to my current situation, I live with my girlfriend, so I have my daily company. Mm-hmm. So we go for walks, we try to be active, we try to do activities and sports, and try not to be lazy, actually. Try not to be lazy, because in this particular moment everyone is becoming lazy to do things. So
afternoon naps, we discussed that, didn't we, Max? Afternoon naps.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, especially for a barista, right? Because you work so much physically. I mean, you're on your feet all day. I remember in the very early days when I would be in one of our coffee pop-ups, and I mean, you're so exhausted at the end of the day. And that, in contrast to suddenly not even being allowed to doing anything, must be quite a contrast.
You made a really interesting point, Fabio, about thinking about your future, because I think that's something that in early episodes of Lockdown Coffee, some of the business owners that we were talking to, we brought up this whole, concern for our baristas, and concern actually that the future of our industry may have fewer baristas from whom we could employ because of the concept that maybe some baristas might say, actually, I don't want to be in this industry where it's so, insecure as a hospitality industry is, and I'm going to. So I'm not asking that question of you, but I'm curious as to, how this has influenced your views on your future and your ongoing training and same to you, Davide. How has that made you think differently, or maybe cemented your love of the industry? Who knows? I don't know which way it goes, but how has that been for you?
Shall I start?
Yeah, go for it. You brought it up.
So my personal view of this is, I'm not really a barista anymore. So I used to be for many years. So that's my background. But now I work in a wholesale. So I'm related to hospitality every single day, every single hour of my job. So I'm obviously there. So I am experiencing what everyone else is experiencing at the moment. But talking about future and if I have to forecast the future, I believe that obviously in terms of trainings and education, we are going obviously to see a different perspective in terms of how the training is going to be and how people attend the training. So instead of maybe do physically, we're gonna have online classes, we're gonna have online trainings, and that's what we are doing as a company, but what everyone else is doing. YouTube is a very big platform to do so, and many other websites. So a lot of companies right now are going forward to actually improve in that point of where you can do things online, and we live in 2020 in a world where the web is everything. So yeah, that's what I think. I think we're going to see a lot of company moving to the online training. Talking about baristas and how people will be employed, obviously we're gonna see a difference point of where people and companies will have to understand and will have to agree on maybe cutting stuff, maybe having less people working. So it will for sure affect the employees and the baristas in the industries.
And Davide, what about you in terms of having time to think? And obviously don't drop something on Max right now, but yeah, Max, I want to completely change my career. How have you, has it made you, think differently about your career, or has it, as I say, has it cemented things for you?
Well, I would say that this period of lockdown, of course, gives you a lot of time to think about anything, okay? And of course, about your career as well. And so one of the first things that you think is, do I like what I'm doing? I'm happy with that. And I would say that I joined the company, my current company, kind of like 2 months ago. No, not 2 months ago. 3 months ago now. So I'm a kind of new.
Oh, very new when you went into fellow. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say that I'm kind of happy. I mean, I don't have anything to complain about. The only thing that made me say, well, I've just started a new role in a new company, and I was going to start to be, I don't know, when you handle it, when you start to handle it, because you knew everything. I was like, okay, now I'm in lockdown. I cannot enjoy it.
Yeah.
So the only thing was just thinking what I'm doing, if I'm doing it well, if I keep feeling the same, think about the job that I'm doing and what I can improve, or if I would like to, I don't know, apply to another role in the company for something different, because I've been a barista for a lot of times in 2 countries. So I would like to step up. That's why I joined in Redemption Roasters, because there was an opportunity for me. And I think that from this point of view, I enjoyed it more, I would say.
Yeah.
Thinking or having a lot of time made me just realize that I'm just okay with this and they just want to go on and progress and try to do to discover something new.
That's good. That's good. Phew, Max. Phew. That's,
yeah.
good. That's good to hear. I mean, but taking this seriously though, because actually, you know, you're not allowed to work on furlough, right? But you can train. So have you been able to have access to either of you, or have you given yourself the opportunity to do any further training anywhere?
So yes, I had a lot of time, as we just talked about. I have a few books to read about coffee, so I could have time to finish it, and I could finish one of the books that I have, and then I started a new one that I've downloaded on my phone. So I would say it's a kind of training, because you never stop to think about that, and you learn, you keep learning. So even if I'm not practically doing anything, and that I think is the most frustrating part, because okay, I have my equipment here, I can make my coffee, I can make my Calita, AeroPress, whatever, but one of the big aspects of being barista and work in retail is doing things. Not just writing at the computer or send a few emails, it's making things. So it's something that I'm not doing basically at all. And reading books, making my coffee keeps you going, keeps you in the mood of being barista and be in the industry. And then I have to say that within my company try to keep the bond between all of us. So we do periodically a meeting all together, a meeting just the manager, like we are in 2020. So we have Zoom, as we're doing now, or any kind of communication. Okay, so it's been nice to have this kind of connection as well. It keeps you in the mood to do everything and keep learning, because you keep sharing things. And I think is the key of working in a team as well in this industry.
Yeah. And Fabio, how about you? Have you continued educating yourself, or have you taken the opportunity to say, hey, I'm going to have a break for a while?
The second one.
You know what? I've downloaded about 10 courses, right? And I haven't even, I've started one. So, you know, we all have the intentions, don't we? And then we're like, yeah, just read.
You know, in my particular job, like, there is no really an educational, you know, process. I'm like a sort of trainer. So I'm usually running 2-3 session a week, where I just, you know, do training to baristas of any level. So for me, it wasn't really an educational process in this lockdown. But obviously, I mean, I make my 2-3 days of coffee per day. You know, I try to read as much as I can, and I'm obviously always searching to be up to date. I'm always up to date to what the industry is offering and what's going on. You know, because I mean, we also in that process where we are updating things, we're updating websites, so we have to do some work, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier that
is an exciting one, I think, and we touched on that last week with Duncan from Extract, especially remote training and recorded training. To what extent, Fabio, do you think can it actually replace real life training? Because complicated things like texturing milk is so difficult to learn just on the screen, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, as Davide was saying earlier, being a barista and learn the technique and all the aspects on like being a barista is the practice. So the more you do, the more you learn. So you can obviously cover some trainings whether they are maybe more you know, technical, or even just theory that is like where the coffee comes from, the aspect of the coffee, the flavors, and why this coffee tastes this way, or why the coffee is a different way. But you can't really learn the practice from a video. You know, I remember when I used to be a barista, and I wasn't really capable to do anything.
I remember that I used to open my YouTube, you know, type latte art videos, and literally I was spending hours watching the video and try to replicate like, as honestly, like hundreds of coffee per day until I would actually get it, you know. So I mean, it's hard. No one knows where this COVID-19 or lockdown situation is going to take us. We're all in a transition process where we don't know. So we gotta be patient. We gotta, you know, wait and see where it takes us.
I mean, out these kinds of situations, sometimes the most random and amazing solutions come out of them, right? You know, this is an impossible question to answer, actually, so I don't know why I'm asking it, but I'm going to anyway. Is there a solution for the different types of training required? You know, can either of you see a future where the new normal still has to remain social distanced, but find a way to cleverly train some of these skills? I mean, I too have tried latte art, and believe me, you know, my hearts didn't look like hearts. They looked like kids. They looked like bottoms. Anyway, they didn't look like hearts. And that was with someone next to me holding my hand and helping me, right? So, you know, could it be VR? Could it be, you know, some form of technology? I mean, is there anything in your wildest dreams that you think would be a good approach for the future, either of you, both of you?
For the COVID-19, I don't think the COVID-19 will stay on this planet forever. So at some point will be gone, hopefully, finger crossed. Hopefully I'm not jinxing it. But at some point it's gonna go away, okay? Yeah. Like the Black Death in the past, at some point went away. And I think that this will help more to be aware people, of disease that can be passed through the air. But I think that the developing of this situation will be the possibility for people to have online trainings, as Fabio was saying before. I think this is a key thing, because all of us, we live in London. We know what means having a lot of time spent on the public transport. So sometimes happen that people cannot commit it because they are very far away, because they live in an area where there is, I don't know, the tube is not working, or they cannot go because they're super far away, so they will come back home too late. So I think that from this time on will be more easy to think, okay, maybe for the theory, so for the theoretical part, like Fabio was saying before, would be nice have who can come be here. With all of us, you can take notes or whatever. But it's not important to be there actually. So you can be home on your computer, who can come, this is the address, who cannot come, this is the link. It's going to be just normal as it is. And then, of course, the practical skills, unless you don't have equipment at your house, to make latte art, you need a coffee machine. Yeah. Unless you have a fancy coffee machine at home, you have space, you have your own house, or you have the money to buy it, because I don't, for example. So you have to be in a shop or in a in a training room. Yeah. There are things. So that part cannot be changed. I was trying to share this passion through the medias. So later, in a couple of videos that I shared on YouTube and Facebook, where I explained very roughly what is this industry, and a few tutorials, even in with our company, we've done a few tutorials for customers that are interested to know how a calita would work or an AeroPress would work. And I've done it also in Italian, because there are few tutorials in Italian. Unless you know English, you can access anything. But sometimes in Italy there are few sources, so I've started to do this on YouTube.
I am 100% sure that we're gonna go back to normal. Right. Eventually. At one point we are going to do so, because like there is a beginning and there is a end to everything. So we will go back to normal. And in terms of, as you were saying, you were suggesting, virtual realities, and that's an amazing idea. Like imagine if you would, you could train people just with the VR. just, you know, it's so real that you actually feel like someone is next to you teaching you how to do so. But talking about being like, we need to be realistic, and to create and to actually develop a VR reality, you need a very I mean, it's gonna cost you a lot as a company, okay? The development of it.
Yeah.
Which is something that most likely few companies would afford, and maybe few companies would get it. So be realistic. I think right now, the company are getting stronger in social medias. Like, a lot of companies are actually relying on being active on socials, posting on YouTube regularly. My company, Gentleman Barista, is doing podcast every 3 days on Instagram, talking about coffees and inviting guests. So people and company are being active on this point of view. I'm sure that in terms of training, as we used to in the past before COVID-19, and as we are currently doing, we're gonna have videos and trainings online, but we will go back on making and providing training normally as we always done.
Sure. So let's move on then to sort of another aspect of lockdown that I think every single person on the planet that has been in lockdown has probably experienced, and that's the ups and downs of sort of mental health. So one day feeling great and I can do whatever I want, I can read a book, I can do nothing, I can be lazy or not lazy, I can go for walks, and then the next day where suddenly it's like, this is horrible, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm scared. We've all had it, right? And don't feel you have to go into detail, but how has that been for you guys? As furloughed, wholesale manager and barista, and working for another company, and relatively having your existence in the hands of other people. How has that been for you guys?
Yeah. So I mean, for me, has been hard for the first 2 weeks. The first week has been quite weird. Like I wasn't really understanding of what was going on in general. And then when you realize what's going on, you just get used to it, and you try to live the best out of it. Because I mean, that's how it is. People think about solutions and complain about problems, but then at the end of the day, that's what it is. We gotta live with it. So I like to live my life as best as I can in terms of mental health. So I'm always trying to be positive. I'm always trying to speak with my family, spend time with my flatmates, going for a walk, and distract my mind from all the problems. But overall, it's been good, because also I mean, Gentleman Baristas are amazing. I mean, the way they are approaching this COVID-19 lockdown, it's been absolutely incredible. So we constantly talking to each other, having Zoom video calls, just talking about life, not about work. And they're being super supportive. So from that point of view, I can't complain. So overall, it's been good. I've been like positive and good.
And how about you, Davide?
So as you said, there are days that we are super happy you do. I don't know, like today, the sunny days, you want to do everything. You're busy. You have an interview like we have now. It's great. And then some days are like blue, completely blue, and you want to, what am I doing? I want to go to my family, my country. So there are moments like that. What I've done, the way that I'm dealing with this situation so far is being like, you just to try to keep busy. So luckily I have people around me. I have friends that you can keep talking with, or I have my partner here. So I'm not alone, even if I'm in a blue mood. Okay. But yeah, the key, as Fabio was saying before, is keeping connections, even with your place of work. We do, I think every 2 weeks we have a quiz all together, so we can play all together and try to don't go crazy, because sometimes you get lost in your mind, don't you? You try to keep the connection with the reality, and the more easy thing to do is what everybody does, do something practical.
Yeah.
So you just speak on that thing. Of course, you cannot be with a coffee machine, but you can do anything else. So like a lot of people, I started to make bread. I made lots of bread.
How about you, Max? I mean, we haven't asked you about this question. How have you been sort of working through the ups and downs and cleaning the odd sofa cushion and what have you?
I think not being a barista and in the store day to day, it hasn't changed massively, because I'm at a desk, and if I'm at a desk at home or in the office, which by the way is about 1 block from my home, doesn't make a huge difference.
Yeah.
And that's also how we started the company, when we were literally just Ted and I. We worked from our living room, so that was it. So I'm used to working from home, and it's not a big problem. But one question actually, Davide, that I wanted to ask you was, because obviously you're a manager and you manage a team in your store. How are you, once you go back to work, will you keep distant from them? Is that how you're going to feel safe, or will it mean that you are going to keep distant from the customer? But as a team with your colleagues, it's going to be impossible because you work in a closed space. How do you see that?
So I think my shop specifically is a kind of, let's call it lucky shop, because it's an open space, is a kiosk. So that means that it's not closed at all. And with a disease that is being passed through the air is a good thing. So for some reason, I feel a kind of safe in the shop rather than other shops that are closed environments. At the very beginning of the pandemic, I remember that we were trying to deal with the situation, keep the distance between each other. But it was very fresh, the situation, so we didn't really know what to do. I was a kind of, let's say, used to this because of my country. So my parents and all my relatives are back in Italy. So I was aware about what activities they were doing, the business they were doing, people was doing, everyone. So I knew more or less what to do. My team was more like, oh my God, you're taking it too seriously. That was the very beginning. And then we got into a routine of keep cleaning, keep the distance between each other, and staying aware of what was happening around us. Sometimes even too much, but in this situation, the exaggerated is not a bad thing, I would say. Personally, I would say that.
What about you, Fabio? Because being in wholesale, and as you say, you're training, and you're slowly going back to it now, aren't you? With some clients starting to get ready to reopen, how are you going to handle the social distancing? Do you think? I mean, and do you have a team with you? Or is it you?
I work pretty much on my own. You know, right. I'm like the social distancing is not gonna affect my personal job. Obviously, I meet my colleagues. You know. We spend some time together during the week, but most of the time I'm just on my own, working remotely with my laptop, so I can pretty much be isolated.
Yeah.
Talking about wholesale, a lot of businesses now are getting back to I mean, business plans and new openings, and even businesses that are already open. They like today I had to call out, I had to go and make sure that everything was ready, because in 2 days they're going to have a reopening. So we're going to have some work to do, obviously.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say the social distancing for myself, it's a key here. I'm very self-isolated all the time, even before COVID-19.
So you were well prepared. What about any friends who are in the industry or baristas? How are you hearing from any of them about how they're feeling about the current situation and the concerns they may have about going back? Is there any of that kind of trickling through to you?
Absolutely. I mean, my flatmates, they're both working in a restaurant cafe. One of them is manager, one of them is a head barista. But yeah, they are concerned about the whole situation. First of all, if they're gonna have a job after work, you know, that's I think the biggest concern that everyone is having right now. And the secondly, probably how this situation is going to affect the workplace and the environment.
We've just been joined by Antonio Orria, who is also from the Gentleman Baristas. I understand he had to rush out to service a new shop, I think. So he's joined us a little bit late, but that's cool. Welcome, Antonio. We're just kind of we're actually just wrapping up and coming to the end of the conversation. What we're talking about, funnily enough, is pretty much just that, which is the return to normality or the new normality. And I was just struck by what you said, Fabio, about, you know, your flatmates being concerned about what came back, because at the beginning of this conversation, we were all saying how when we were first in lockdown, it was really weird because none of us knew what on earth was going on. And now it's kind of like, oh, it's quite normal. You know, it's sunny outside. I'll go for a walk, or I'll read a book, or, you know. So part of me is wondering whether, obviously there's going to be concern and fear about what happens with reopening, but will it become normal again? Will it ease? Will we ease into a normality of you know, working as baristas and managers in shops fairly quickly, do you think?
I'm pretty confident. I think it's going to happen very soon. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to take us like I don't know, ages before we go back to normal. I mean, already we are in a transition where we all, I mean, I'm not saying we're back to normal, but once the places will be open, obviously talking about, you know, starting from places where there are less crowd, so like cafes, restaurants, obviously talking about stadiums. I can't imagine a stadium to be reopened in a month or in 3 months or in 6 months, you know, but being realistic about little businesses, I'm pretty sure that we're gonna go back to reality pretty soon.
New normal, a new reality.
I mean, maybe a little bit more conscious about the situation, obviously, but.
Antonio, you're literally on. Are you on site right now?
Yes.
So how is it there?
So first of all, hello to everyone.
Hi.
Thank you for inviting me to this chat. I'm really sorry I had to join later, but as you can see, I'm just in front of our shop.
Yep.
We are going to open tomorrow.
Wow.
So I had to come in and check on the recipes because, of course, we are concerned about the quality of the coffee. Yeah. And you know, it's a first shop out of our 10 shop that we closed. It's the first one who's going to reopen. So it's going to be a test, actually. Yeah. And we hope for the best. We set up in a way to accommodate the new needs of the market. So the social distancing maybe mainly, and a number, of course, of higher health procedures, because you know, in London, in the UK in general, the legislation about food safety is looser than in other European countries.
Is it really? Right.
Yeah. So just to give an example, because Italy, for example, is a country I know very well, and I know how they handled the hospitality before the lockdown. And there are some rules. For example, in Italy, it's not allowed to serve, was not allowed even before the lockdown, was not allowed to serve sugar in an open pot. That's so true. That just people can use the spoon, you know, to chuck the sugar in. In UK, this was allowed, and of course, this is now not possible anymore. But the legislation has not caught up with all these little details yet. So it's down to the businesses to find the creative ways sometimes, and to try and spot all those risks.
Yeah.
In their, you know, in what we call the flow. So what happens from when you order to when you get your drink or food delivered to you. All those little steps and trying to make them safe. I think communication, it's going to have to play a big role, as it always been the case in a small business. But yes, so we, on the other side, we're really excited to be reopening again.
So that's really good, because that brings me to actually the last thing I wanted to ask you all, and that is what you're looking forward to most about reopening. Because, you know, Davide, you're going to have your store at some point. I don't know what the timeline is, and I wouldn't presume to ask Max to confirm on that yet. But, you know, by July, we're going to have in a position where you know, most businesses are going to be reopening. Obviously, Fabio, you're already transitioning back into more of a full-time role, and have your first store opening. So what are you looking forward to most?
Honestly, going back to our routine and being in contact with the team, of course, because as I was saying before, I've just started this new role, and I would like doing it actually. So and evolving this new role. So be in contact with the team, be in charge of like leading the team and try to find new solutions for problems or for new problems that now are in place because of the current situation. And like this feeling is what I'm looking for.
So I'm a routine guy. So I really love and like my routine, you know.
Yeah.
I don't like things out of the box. So you know, I'm looking forward to go back to my routine, you know, wake up in the morning, make my coffee, go to work, you know, meet Antonio, meet the guys, and, you know, talk about work, you know, give an update and start the day in a very good way.
Cool. And Antonio, with your new store opening, what are you looking forward to most?
Well, this what I look forward the most is not coming up tomorrow, but it is probably will possibly in a short time. It is actually having a public space where to meet people. So that, you know, coffee shops are not only provider of caffeine for people, but also it's always been a meeting point, point where, you know, to unwind or unwind from the hustle of the city, or just having that 10-minute breaks from your daily. This is my personal perspective. From a business perspective, what we look forward in the Gentleman Baristas is to reestablish that relationship with our customers. So absolutely to welcome them and offer them a genuine good cup of coffee. You know, there's a lot of people actually in this area. This is London Bridge area, and today I could see it's amazing how people is adapting to this new normality. There's a lot of people outside in the street, but everyone keeps the distance and everyone trying to pay attention, you know, with different degrees, but there is a focus on that. So I'm amazed by this, and I always thought that you know, the humanity, we can get used to anything very quickly. So we will get used to the new normal, and we can't wait to play our role in here.
And what about you, Max? What are you looking forward to most?
I also look forward to going back to work, going back to the office, the hustle and bustle. At the moment when I go there, it's dark and there's no one there. I look forward to cuppings going on, people carrying machines in and out, customers arriving and leaving. That'll be great, and maybe taking everyone out to the pub on a Friday. Seeing everyone again in person. Zoom just doesn't cut it over the long run.
No, from that personal connection, it's a great filler. It's a great gap filler, but it's not. Yeah, and interestingly, in a few weeks' time, we're going to hopefully have a couple of coffee shop owners who have been reopened for a few weeks. One of whom is actually working with the council on creating public spaces outside. So that'll be really interesting to hear how successful he's been. Listen, guys, you've all been amazing. Thank you for joining us. You've shared some really great insights into the life and your lives being on furlough and, you know, coming out of it. People watching this, if you enjoyed it, please press the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel so that you can get more. We have more episodes coming next week. We're talking to Kamal from Change Please, the guys at Well Grounded, Max, obviously, about the impact of the coronavirus and lockdown on those social issues that all of those three businesses are involved with. We've also got future episodes with food service and, as I said, that one about those coffee shop owners that have been reopened for a few weeks and how they've managed over the last few weeks. So we look forward to seeing you then. Guys, thank you again. Mwah, you've been amazing.